Hey guys, off the Mike Sports Network here. Another edition of Brown's Thoughts here on the weekend. So there's a report going around from Ian Rappaport, NFL Media, basically saying that there are a lot of teams that are reportedly interested in trading up to number one, presumably to go get Cam Ward. Because it seems like the Tennessee Titans are very lukewarm on the possibility of it. I've, kind of gone back and forth. I'm kind of in on the possibility of taking him at two. But there is now a discussion. And you know how I like to tie this into the Cleveland Browns because this is my team, the team that I've rooted for my whole life, the football team that has consistently let me down. And the question is, should the Cleveland Browns be the team that trades up from 2-1 to ultimately go get their quarterback, which presumably in this scenario would be Cam Ward? There are hardly any scouts out there that have Shedeur Sanders being the number one quarterback. The only reason why Shedeur Sanders has been in the discussion for the Cleveland Browns is because they are trying to, I think they're trying to drive up the price because they were under the impression that the Tennessee Titans were more in on the possibility of taking a quarterback. It seems like it's been going back and forth, but it seems like Tennessee would probably be more inclined to take Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter at number one. That's my read on the situation right now. But then again, we still have, almost 2 full months until we get to Green Bay for the draft. So the question again is, do the Browns trade up from 2-1? I say hell no. Not just hell no. Hell no. I ain't doing that at all. And I have a couple reasons why. Number one, I've said before, and I've been pretty consistent in this, neither one of these quarterbacks, I think are as amazing as the crop of quarterbacks that we have had in the last couple of years. Let's get that out of the way, especially comparing them to last year's crop. It's not even close. I like Cam Ward. I'd be okay with Cam Ward, but I am not trading up to get Cam Ward. The other part of this is the very important piece of this, and I am amazed that so many people in the Browns fan base are just going to look past what transpired 3 years ago. Around this exact point. We're almost to the 3-year anniversary of when the Browns were ruled out of the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes and then immediately came back with that 5-year, $230 million guarantee. They make the trade. Deshaun waives his no trade clause, and the rest is unfortunately history. How in the hell do you want to justify trading up from 2-1 to get a quarterback that is, admittedly a solid prospect, but let's be real, I don't think he's worth the number one pick. I'd be okay with taking him at 2. It wouldn't exactly be my most thrilling thing, but hey, the Browns, if they're in love with him, I get it. And some people will come at me saying, well, if you're in love with him, you should trade up for him. Guys, the Browns were trying to convince us that they were in love with Deshaun Watson 3 years ago, and look what happened. They got so desperate that they made an insane offer, and they went out of their comfort zone, and it backfired on them. I'm not saying that they should play scared, but they need to be mindful of what happened 3 years ago and the predicament that it put them in. The Browns need assets to build this team. They don't need to trade more of them away to make this team better just because a quarterback may be going number one. If anything, what I'm using this whole rumored story that the Titans might be rumored trying to trade number one, I'd use it as leverage if I'm the Browns, to talk to the Raiders, to talk to the Giants, to talk to any other team that wants a quarterback, because it seems like there is some momentum, and because, the compulsive need for teams to take quarterbacks because quarterback is the most important position. That being said, I just don't think the Browns are at the point where, you need to find the franchise guy because you're much closer to the bottom of the NFL than you are the top of the NFL. So if I'm the Browns, I'm using this as leverage to any one of those teams saying, hey, you think Cam Ward's going number one? You want a quarterback? You like Shedeur? Come up to number 2. Give us a king's ransom. I would much rather in any scenario trade out than trade up. That's just my view on this situation. I like Cam Ward. If he's there at 2 and the Browns like him enough over other people, I would be okay with taking him. That being said, if there is a desperation of this team to even consider moving up to number 1, they should resist it immediately. Because to me, you trading away assets to get a guy that you thought you might be able to get and only moving up one spot to do it. Granted, some people say, maybe that won't cost them that much. Guys, it'll cost them something. And they need more pieces to this team. They need to keep building this rather than, sacrificing stuff for what ultimately could end up being a guy who's going to not start in year one. Like, it's just you can't make that decision. And so I'm really worried, and constantly this fan base frustrates me to the point where I just don't know what to say. So please do not entertain this possibility of trading up to 1. Stay at 2 or trade out. That's my view on this situation. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.